Okay, we're on the bottom. 3 lines up from the bottom. Yeah, that's I think we got up to, yeah.
They do have an
Toshima.
asterisk by the
Again, we're in the
schedule.
sugya of when you want to be kind of something kinyan agav. By the what?
They have an asterisk by the time for that minion that not everybody should come.
Oh, it has an asterisk?
Yeah, have an asterisk that says you shouldn't come to it if you, yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. Is that me freezing up? Am I freezing up? I think I'm freezing up.
A little bit, yes.
What?
Yeah, you're freezing a little bit. You're coming in a little choppy.
I don't know what's going on with this internet. Okay, I'm gonna call in just so we don't have to be disturbed.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your participant ID. You are in the meeting now. Meeting is being recorded.
Okay, you hear me? Yeah, good. Okay. The Pashim so we're in the middle of the sugya when you're being kind of something agav chotzer, right? Meaning you could be kind of a chotzer, and then you could also be kind of utensils through that chotzer, right? Meaning you don't have to actually normally you have to pick up utensils or anything that's movable with hagva, but we're saying you don't necessarily have to. If you with the land, right? So we're trying to prove: do the movables have to be on top of the land or not? That's meaning, or they can be. You could have land here and movables in Eretz Yisrael, and you sell somebody land here, and then agav that he'll also be kind of the movable items, the utensils in Eretz Yisrael. Right, so that's the Gemara Shabbos. So Tashima, 3 lines up from the bottom, top of them base. There was a story of Gamliel Zakenim. Show you buying B'Sfina. They were traveling in a ship. Right, now he had forgotten. Either he had forgotten or he didn't take off Trumas and Meiser. So there's a din by taking off Trumas and Meiser. You don't have to actually remove it. We came across this a couple of times. You don't have to actually remove it. You can just mentally separate it, and then eventually, as long as physically separate, then you're okay. That people are gonna hevel if he doesn't separate. So he's on a boat. So what's he gonna do? So him and the Zakanim were on a boat. Amar Lahem Rav Gamliel Zakanim. So Rav Gamliel told the Zakanim, Isur Shani Asud Lamud, the Meiser that I'm going to measure out on Talmud Aleph now. Nothing loy Yeshua. I'm going to give it to Yeshua, right? And who Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya, Rashi says, who was a Levi, right? So he was with him on the boat. He says, I'm giving it all to Yeshua, and I'm giving the place. I'm renting him the place where the Meister is sitting. Right? So meaning he's sitting on a boat. He says to his friend, he says, who is a who says who was a Levi, he's giving him Meister, right? Right? The Easter Acha Shani Asulamat, and then the other tenth, meaning the Meister Ani, I'm going to give to you. Nothing. I'm sorry, Lola Akiva ben Yosef. He gave it to Akiva ben Yosef. That he should be zeichen it on behalf of the Aniyim. And I'm going to rent him the place too. Right? So now, why doesn't he just? So why can't he just? Why can't he just give him the grain? Right? So it must be that he's giving him the grain. Agav a piece of land. Why does it have to be that? So the Makai Mai. Why does it have to be he's giving him the place where the grain is? So Shmami Nabi and Tiburimba. Must be the reason is because you need it to be piled up on it. And the answer is no. Shani Hasan ki hechi dolay l'chuchenu. He didn't really need to have him give him the land that's want to be matriach him. Right? You don't want to be matriach him that he's going to have to take it. He's going to have to schlep it out. So as long as it's in his karka, so then it's finished. So not because halachically he had to do this. He was doing it for the convenience of Rabbi Yeshua, the Levi, and for Akiva ben Yosef. Okay. So Toshima, the Amar Rav Bar Yitzchak Amar Rav, Shnei Shtarazim. There's two halachas by shtar. Zachu b'sadeh zu leplini. Right? If he says, the seller says to a guy, be zoich in this field on behalf of Pliny, right? So we know that you could do that because Zachu Ladam Shlebefanu. This is a zachu b'sadeh zu leplini, v'katzu le'es a shtar. And then write the shtar. Right? Meaning, write him a shtar that I'm being makne him the field. Chayzer b'shtar. So if he's changes his mind, he can say that he could do, but he cannot change his mind with the field. Meaning, once they go onto the field and they do a kinyan on the field, let's say usually the chazaka, they do something on the field, so then that he can't change his mind. That's one type of shtar. Almanas, but if he writes almanas shetichtuhu lo yes a shtar, give him the field on condition that you write a shtar, then chayzer bein b'shtar b'sadeh. Then he could change his mind whether he gets the star or the sadeh. Because here he says that the whole giving of the karka is on condition. Like Rav Chia bar Avin Amar Rav Huna, shloisha shtaros same. Rav Chia bar Avin says there's three shtaros. Trey, hold on, two like we said. Idach, and the other in Kidam Meicher. If the Meicher went first, because of lo yas shtar, and he wrote the shtar for the guy who's buying the field for you, like we learned in the Mishnah, you could write a shtar to a meicher, even though the lekeich is not there. Meaning, the reason is because a shtar. Why can you write a shtar without the purchaser being there? Because a shtar can only help the purchaser. Right? It can only help him and hurt the seller. Right? So kivan shehichzik imay the karka, since he was mafik with the karka, nikna shtar b'chol makom shehu. So the shtar, you kind of the shtar, whatever it is, and therefore he can't change his mind. So what do you see from all this? Right? Meaning, how's he being kind of the shtar? The shtar is not in the field. Shmami no, like being on tziburin ba. So it must be that he's being kind of the shtar with the karka, and you don't need the shtar to be on top of the karka. So therefore, you can be kind of kinyan agav, even if it's not on top. The Gemara answers no. Shani shtar daf sira da'arahu. Shtar is different. It's not considered. A shtar is not considered an independent movable. Shtar is considered like afsira da'ara. It's like what do we call the afsira again around the animal? It's not the lasso. The thing you schlep the animal with.
They call it a halter.
The reins?
A halter, a rein. Yeah, okay, either one. So a halter or a rein. So therefore, it's meaning the shtar is sort of like the same way you pull an animal, a leash. The same way you pull an animal with a leash, so you pull a karka with a shtar. So even if the shtar is automatic, meaning a shtar about a karka is automatically considered connected to the karka, even if it's not on top of it. So you can't bring a proof from a shtar, right? But you don't have to. But it says you could be kind. This is what we're talking about. Meaning at the end of that, I don't know if it's the end of that price, at the end of that Mishnah, right? He said, no, it's not. He said that what is this that you're being kind of the karka, and then being kind of the shtar with it. That's what we mean when we say mechasim she'en la machrayis, meaning movables are nicknamed in mechasim sheyesh machrayis. That could be kind of when the chasim have machrayis. Bekesef b'shtar v'chazaka. Amina lo bin tziburim ba. So we hear from this that you don't need the shtar to be piled on the field. You don't need the metalton to be on that field. Shema Amina, and that's how we hear from it. You don't need to do it, right? So, meaning, so therefore, I can be kinda something and my being with it, right? So, so David Smider's on? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
good. So I looked at David Feinstein Chumrah. Happens not to be Negei this year because this year first day Sukkot is on Shabbos, so you don't need lachem. Maybe a suffix lachem on Sunday. Pashas, you don't need lachem. So Rav David Feinstein has said that a kinyan kesef, even giving cash, the Machmirim say you should pay for Yilul and Esig in cash. Like this is a kinyan kesef, right? But Rav David Feinstein said kinyan kesef really means it should be silver mamish, not just money. So according to that, you're not using kesef. Right? So he says he said the only kinyan you're going to be relying on is hagbah, like we're learning here, that you pick up the talpul in your koina by picking it up. Right? So that's what he says. That's what you have to be simulchan. Another is make sure you bring it into your chasser before Sukkot, which I think most people do. You bring the lulav and esig into your chasser. It's a kinyan chasser. Right? Like this, at least you have a mamish. It's not a kinyan agav, it's a kinyan chasser.
Well, if you're not home for Yontif, why is it a kinyan chutz?
Oh, you talking? No, look. You mean if you go to the store and then immediately
You go to
drive
your,
to say? I hear that. I hear. Maybe Taka. Is your car considered
you're
a
in your
chutz?
you're in your brother-in-law's car, and you're going to his house for Yontif.
What if you have like one of your kids gets your lulav and esrog for you, and they bring it into the house for you? So the first and they're setting it up for you, and the first time you're touching it is when you take it in the Sukkot's morning.
Taka shouldn't, I would say, in that situation. I don't know, we're being too strict. To make sure to be kind before Yom Tov. Clear. Excellent. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know if we're being too. I gotta find out from the Machmirim who have their 10 esrogim and their full lulavim if they make sure to use silver dollars to buy it. I'm gonna try and get under their skin a little bit with this chumrah.
Just call your shvager.
I know. I'm tempted. But then my nephews, if he decides to go with this chumrah, my nephew's gonna go crazy on me. But I'm gonna. Okay, we'll find out. Okay. Iboilu, yeah. So they asked the shaila, mi be'inan agav oiloi. Do you need agav or not? So what Rashi says this means is, do you have to tell the guy that you're doing a kinyan agav or not? Right? He's saying, yeah, here, taking the guy that you're selling, using the example we used on Friday. You're selling a guy a house. The guy says, hey, you using that microwave? You're using that toaster? I could use a microwave and toaster. So he says, yeah, take it. Right? So, but he didn't tell him that I'm being makneh to you agav the karka. So the guy never made a kinyan on the toaster. Right? So is he kinyan or not? That's the going to show. Do you have to tell him that, or you could just have that in mind when he's kind of the field? He says, oh yeah, I had in mind the toaster and the everything movable. So Tashema the Ketani Kol Hani. Right? We learned all these cases about being makneh at the field, but like Ketani Agav. Right? It didn't say Agav. Right? Meaning all these last bunch of cases, nobody said the Ferish that it's Agav. Right? He just said he's going to be makneh to him. So the Gemara says, "Tamech kani mikatani." It doesn't say kaina either. In all these cases, it doesn't say you should. Kani, right? You have to say kani. There has to be communication here. When you're being makna somebody something, you have to tell them be kaina. So since the Mishnah, the Brises didn't say the word kaina, they didn't say the word agav either. So to here until he says agav. And what's the bottom line? You don't need it to be on top of the karka. Agav v'kani be'inan. But you do need to tell the guy that he's being koinit with agav, and you also have to tell the guy that he's being koinit. Again, that's how we do one of the mechiras of chametz. The rabbi is selling everybody's chametz that's in the shtar agav karka, meaning at least the way we do in our mechira, where we pick a closet in the house that obviously we're not going to go into a whole Pesach, which is karka. We're makne it to the guy. He's kinda all the chametz that was appointed the rabbi, all the chametz of the people that appointed the rabbi is agav the karka in the rabbi's house.
Well, it's
Right,
a closet. It's a closet in the rabbi's house.
Well, every rabbi can pick whatever he wants, but yeah. Some
Thank
pick
you.
a garage.
Like you, what's the karka?
Yeah, the closet in my house, my basement. It's a closet in my basement. It's karka, right? He can he's kind of the closet, and agav the closet, all the chametz. Now, all the people's chametz is not fitting into my closet. I don't think, right? But even so, meaning that was the Gemara Shaila. Do we have to take everybody's chametz and pile it up in the closet, or not? So the Gemara is saying the maskana of the Gemara is it doesn't have to be, which is why that kinyan works for the guy. Right, so that's kinyan we do with the guy. Next Shaila. Now, so basically, like using our case of the guy selling his house, and he's also giving him a toaster and a microwave and all that. But that's a present. He's not buying it. So does that?
Your house,
what?
even though somebody who has a mortgage on his house, it's considered his house. Oh,
that's a good point. That's a good point, Taka. You have a mortgage on the house. Is that considered his house? That's where you get into whether you can make shechiyano on the house or not.
Yeah.
It's yours, right? If there's those that say it's not your house, owned partially by the bank or all by the bank. I hear. I don't know, Taka. That's a good order. Let's assume that you could. So can you do kinyan agav, right? Basically, you're being kind of two things. You're being kind of the house and the microwave toaster that's in the house, right? Two different kinyanim. Bishlam a sale of a metalplin and a sale of karka. Okay, we understand. You could do one agav the other. But can you do one a matana and one a sale? That's the shaila. Iboilu sodim mecher metalplin matana mao. Tashima Isa Shani Asalam and nothing Yeshua. Right. So we said at the top of the story of Gamliel on the ship. He said the ma'aser that I'm going to measure out is giving to Yeshua. Umakaymei muschaloi. And the makam is muskar. So you see that one is rented and one is given a matana. So and the agav works. Shema mina. You see that you can do two different kinyanim with, I don't know if it's different kinyanim, but two different types. Meaning one's a sale and one or a rental and one is a present. You can do that with an agav. Fine. Next chapter. To one person and a sada to somebody else. So then what's the din? Meaning he's saying, I'm going to give this microwave to your neighbor. I don't want you to have the money. I mean, again, using our example, we're selling the house to his friend and the neighbor wants the microwave. So he says, be kind of the house for yourself and agav, be kind of the microwave on behalf of your neighbor. So then what would be the din? So Tashima again, Isa Shani Asalam but nothing like Kiva ben Yosef. Rabbi Gamliel on the ship said that the ma'aser that I'm going to measure, I'm giving to Akiva ben Yosef Kadeshi Yizke by Laniyim. So that the Aniyim will be Zaychin and Makayim Muschaloi. And I'm renting the place where the grain is. So you see, two different people. He's renting the land to Akiva ben Yosef, and the grain that's in the land was being covenant on behalf of the Aniyim. The Gemara says that's not a proof. My muschur lemaisa, meaning it's rented out for the meiser. I'm not giving it to Akiva and Yosef. I'm giving it to the Aniyim. So therefore, it's all to the same person. Biba is saying, "Shani Rabbi Akiva the Yad Aniyim hava." Akiva was the Yad of the Aniyim, meaning he's a representative of the Aniyim. So therefore, it's as if he's giving it to the Aniyim, not giving it to to somebody else. Fine. So then Amar Rava, Lo shanu ela shenasim demei kulam. The whole kinyan of Agav only works on that he gives the worth of everything. But if he doesn't give the demei kulam, lo kana ela keneged ma'asav. He's only kind of keneged ma'asav. Meaning, let's say the guy wasn't such a nice guy, and he's going to microwave. He says, "Yeah, you want microwave in the toaster, etc., etc. So pay me a few extra dollars." The guy says, "Great." So I'm adding $10 into the star for the microwave, and in the toaster is another $10. So, but I'll pay you that later. Would he be kind or not? Right. So that's the shaila. So not the shaila. Rava said a statement that he has to pay for everything. If he doesn't pay for everything, then it doesn't work. Fine. Tanika Kava say the Rava, and then we get a chazor of kinyanim here. We have a brayta that says like Rava, Yafa koyach hakesem, the koyach hashtar. The koyach of money is stronger than shtar, the koyach hashtar, the koyach hakesem, and sometimes star is stronger than kesef. Yafa koyach hakesef, shakesef, paidin by hekteshus and ma'ishasheni. As we know, when you have hektish, you make your car hektish, you do, and to be paid onto money. That the car's worth $10,000, so you take $10,000 of cash, put it onto the cash becomes hektish, and your car goes out. So you could do that with cash. And Ma'aseh Sheni, the same thing, when you have to bring it up in the third and sixth year to Yerushalayim. Masha ain't came to shtar you can't do that. You can't take your car and be paid it onto a shtar. And same even Ma'aseh. The Yofa Koyach HaShtar, but shtar is better. Shtar might be Bas Yisrael. A shtar can divorce a Bas Yisrael. Masha ain't can kesef. You cannot divorce a woman with kesef. Fine. But Yofa Koyach Shneim, Mikoyach Hazaka. And shtar and kesef are stronger than chazaka. The koyach chazaka and the koyach shneim, and chazaka is stronger than both of them. Why? Yof the koyach shneim, the koyach of both of them is better. Shneim kind of bevet ivri. You can use a shtar and kesef to be by an evet. Chazaka. You cannot do a chazaka. Koyach bevet ivri. An evet kanani you could, right? When we say that, an evet kanani you could, right? Yafe koyach chazaka, and chazaka has a koyach shechazaka. Machalei esasadis be'esa medinas. You can sell with a chazaka 10 fields in 10 different countries. Even shehichzik ba'achas mehen. Once you're holding on to one, once you master one, kanam kulam, you're kind of all in, right? What do you call this? A real estate portfolio, right? Is that the right lashon? You're selling somebody your real estate portfolio. And you have land all over the world. So as long as you do one kinyan for the land here in New York, you could be kind of the guy's apartment in Tel Aviv and the one in Brazil and all that stuff on some of these. That's only where he paid for all the 10 fields. But if he didn't pay for all, he's not kinda. Only the amount of money that he gave. So let's say he's being kind of 10 fields, and he only paid for 5. So he's only kind of those 5. He's not kind of the 10. Fine.
But ironically, if he's using kesef as a kinyan, this is not true. He doesn't need to give the whole value to be kind of the whole thing. This is only with other kinyan.
What?
This would only be with other kinyanim. If he's using kesef as a kinyan,
right?
He doesn't need to give the whole value to be kind of the whole thing.
Why? Because it's what's it called?
Kesef has nothing to do with the value. It's kind of with one coin.
It's only for chazal. Yeah. Okay, good. That's a good order. I think that's the way to be. I think you're right. Okay, Messiah the Shmuel, 3 lines down. This is a proof to Shmuel. So Amar Shmuel, Machar Loi Esther Studies Best Medinas. If you sell a guy 10 fields in 10 countries, and once he'll stick with one of them, he's kinda all of them. Fine. Amar Rav Achabred Rav Ika, Teda, let's prove what Shmuel said. Let's say you hand the guy, you're selling him 10 animals, right? And you sell him all 10 animals, but you hand it to him with one, what we saw the after was halter, rein, leash. Kani, and he said to him, kind of, me like Kani, are you not kind of? Right? Of course you kind of with all of them. So therefore, meaning if you have 10 of them with all tied up to give him one and all with karka. He said to him, it's not a proof. Me dummy. You can't compare animals to karka. There, he's holding all the animals in his hand because they're all connected to this rope. So all of them ultimately are in his hand. Here, the chazaka that he did is only going to work for one field. It's not going to work for all the fields. How are they all connected? So it's not necessarily a proof. Some say the opposite. Say a proof that you're not kind of one field to the other field. Because if you gave him 10 behemoths with one leash or one halter, and you said, be kind of this one, me kani, are you going to be kind of the other animals? No, because you only told him that one. So why would you be kind of all the fields if you just told him that one? Or answers me done. Some goof. Each animal is its own body. The land, the whole world is one big land. So if you make chazaka in one land, it's all connected. All the lands in the world are connected. The earth is one big earth. So therefore, they're mamish all connected. You kind of one to the other. So you mamish see two different versions of the Gemara, two totally opposite worldviews, I guess. Right? The first one thought that every karka is a separate thing, but the animals, since they're all tied together, is connected. Second one is thinking, no, if you only kind of the one that you meant to be kind of, and the other animals tied up to it are separate bodies, so how can you say you'd be kind of? But the whole world is connected. Since the whole world is connected, therefore you would be kind of all the fields. Fine. Last thing in the Mishnah. So we said that normally we have something called Maida B'Mikvah. If I go over to a guy and I tell him, you owe me $100, and the guy says, no, I don't, I only owe you 50. So the din is Maida B'Mikvah, he has to make a shvua. Since he was Maida halfway, so he has to make a shvua. But that's only by metaltalin. If I go over to the guy and say, your house belongs to me, and the guy says, no, half my house belongs to you, then you don't make the shvua Maida B'Mikvah. That's based on psukim. Right? So the Mishnah says, but let's say I went over to the guy and said, hey, you owe me $100 cash, and you owe me half, and you owe me your house. And the guy tells him, I only owe you $50 cash, and I only owe you half the house. Then, since he has to make a shvua on the cash, we roll over the shvua and make him make the shvua on the house too. Right? So it's called a Gilgal shvua. Right? We roll a shvua once he's making a shvua. Him too. So how do we know this? So Amar Ula, and we get a little chazor of Saita now. Amar Ula, like a half Amar chazor here, exactly how Saita works. Amar Ula, minayin l'gilgal shvua min ha-Torah. How do you know that Gilgal shvua is from the Torah? Shenemar v'amar ha'isha amen amen. Right? The woman has to answer amen amen. That's the Saita, who the husband is chayshit her. And when the kohen asks her and says, well, we're going to say it in a minute, then she has to answer amen amen. The Tanan, Amahi Ameres amen amen. What is she saying amen amen to? Amen al Allah. She's saying amen on the curse, because it says, if the kohen tells her, if you're lying and you were promiscuous in your stomach, it really starts with your thigh. Your thigh is going to fall out and you're going to blow up. Amen ala shvua. She makes an amen on the shvua. Right? If that's you, because she's making a false shvua. Amen imme ish zeh. With the she was. So she was amen imeyesh acher. Amen if she messed around with a different man that the husband was not chayshid, right? Amen shaloi satisi. Amen that I was not a saita. Arusa unastua shemeres yava meknusa. She says I didn't mess around, not when I was engaged, not when I was already married, not when I was waiting for yibum, or once I was married from yibum. Right? So So that's what all means. So now what's the proof? So Hayarusa, what does it mean that she didn't mess around when she was engaged? If you say that he was only did a kinyan for engagement for kamashkile kishiyarusa, and we're trying to make her drink the drink, meaning they got engaged again, which is marriage. We call it engaged, but they're married, and then she was promiscuous, and then the husband even before
Kinyan or
the
kinui? The kanila means he did a kinyan or kinui. He warned her.
Oh, I'm sorry, right? Here the word kani means he warned her. Thank you, but it means that what I was saying is that they did a kinyan, they got married. Now he was chayshed her. That's what the word kanila. Thank you. That's what the word kanila means. He was jealous of her, right? When she was engaged, and he wants to kamashkila kiskilus, and he's trying to get her to drink when she's engaged. That can't be. But not, because we learned in the Mishnah, a girl that's only engaged or that's waiting for yibum, they don't drink. And they don't take the ksuba. My timer, tachas isheich amarachmana. It has to be under her husband. So Leka, you don't have that yet because they're not married. So it can't be when it says arusa, it means when she was engaged. Ella, what must it be? The kashi arusa must be that he was jealous of her when she was engaged, and so was hidden, meaning she was hiding with this fellow when she was engaged. The kamashki lakashi nesua, but when is she drinking the drink? Only after they got married. That can't be either, because mibadkila maya. Will the water really check her? Will it do a badik on her? The man is going to be clean from an avon, which means the zmancha ishmenukame avon. Only when the husband is clean from an avera. Mayim baitkinas ishtay. Eina ishmenukame avon. Eina mayim baitkinas ishtay. So meaning once the man sleeps with the wife after she was hidden with the guy that he was worried about, then the drink doesn't work. So the assumption is that the way the order went, at least the Gemara is thinking now, she got engaged, then she was alone with a guy, then they got married, and then he finds out a drink after they're married based on what happened when they were engaged. It doesn't work because once he slept with her after that Maisa, the water doesn't test. So that can't be the case either. So it must be, what is the Shvua? Ella al Yidei Gilgul. So the only way you're going to have it, that they're making the Shvua about being engaged, is that he was chayshed her after they were married, and then he was chayshed her before they were married. So since she has to make a Shvua to drink the drink on the Sira that they had after she was married, we also say, by the way, we're going to make you make a Shvua on what happened before you were married too.
Does he have to know before he sleeps with her, the husband?
Does he have to know of the stira? No, I think from what I'm saying that he does not have to know. Meaning, even if he didn't find out about it till later. Yeah, as far as I remember.
So why doesn't it work? I'm saying he didn't sleep with her outside anything. He didn't know anything. He's in this. Why isn't the Meisaita we're not working?
What do you mean? That just doesn't based on the psukim. If they were together, the Meisaita doesn't work. Yeah, whatever it is. So we say it has to be Gilgal Shvua. So it says Ashkechan cited the Yisura. So that's fine. So that's how we know Gilgal Shvua is in the Torah. But that only tells us cited was Isser, Memaina, Minolan. How about money? Right? We know that there's two different sets of halachas. There's Isser Veheter, and then there's Choshen Mishpat. So good. So by Yisurim, if she has to make a thing, so then fine. But you have to make her make a shvua, fine. But who says in finances you're allowed to roll over the shvua? You can't use one witness. An Eid Echad obviously does not make her have to drink the drink, meaning an Eid Echad that she was alone with a fellow. But Megalgalin, but we would make her make a shvua with one but we still, meaning you can't use one aid yet. You need two aidim. But you could also make the shvua roll over. So mammon money, which we know is as long as there's an eid echad there, that can require a shvua. Meaning money is clearly stricter. We're requiring a shvua with even an eid echad. So again, a saita that we require two eidim can knock one shvua, can do a gilgal shvua. So mammon, which will require a shvua for an eid echad, for sure should be gilgal shvua. Right? So from saita to money. Okay. Then let's go a few more lines. Ashkan b'vadai safek minolan, and that tells us by vadai. Right? So that's vadai when you have to make a shvua. Right? But safek minolan. But what about if it's only a safek? Yeah. Meaning if you have it's talking about shutfim who are dissolving the shutfim. They're choshed each other for shenanigans, but they don't have anything definitive. So can they make a shvua too? So Tani Rishuvim, but Yuchayim and number shvua b'chut, but number shvua b'fnim. It says shvua b'chut, which is by cases outside the Beis HaMikdash, which is your standard choshen mishpat cases. Remember shvua b'fnim, and it says a shvua b'fnim, which is referring to the shvua that's made by the stoita in the Beis HaMikdash. Ma shvua or b'fnim, also b'safek kivadei. At the end of the day, it's only a stuff. The woman being promiscuous, then she gets misa. So it's only a suffix, but yet we require a shvua. So af shvua mura b'chutz, asaba suffix kevadai. So shvua says b'chutz. We also say that we're going to make a suffix like a vadai, and we're going to make the shvua roll over. Even though normally you wouldn't make a shvua, but since you make the shvua something else, we're going to roll over the shvua and require the shvua in that case. All right. Okay. We'll stop over here. I have a chasana tomorrow night, so it might change up the time a little.